All right, good morning. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. It's Pastor Dowell. I'm out here in rural country America, and I'm going to go ahead and maybe it'll help this way right here, okay? All right, I'm going to give you at least 5 things you need to do in order to prepare for this upcoming economic collapse, or if they come around with another epidemic, pandemic, disease, or whatever the world it is, all right? Number 1, you should get out of debt. The reason why you should get out of debt is because any assets that you may have attained during this particular lifetime right here, or if you own anything, they're going to come back and they're going to want to take them. And remember what the Bible says, the borrower is a servant to the lender. Anytime you're out in an extraordinary amount of debt, you become a slave to those who you're indebted to. And so learn how to not live from paycheck to paycheck, and learn how to buy things as you go. I understand that on some purchases, be it a home or a house or homestead or a vehicle or something like that, it may take a little time, but don't go out there and get an extraordinary amount of debt that you can't pay that debt off within 6 months, all right? Number 2, you definitely want to get out of the city. The reason why you want to get out of the city, all you have to do now is just look at the civil unrest that's taking place in almost every single city in the United States of America, and you've got to ask yourself this question: do you want you or your family in this crossfire? Especially if you're living in a home that has aluminum siding for its veneer. I mean, bullets can go literally through apartments, they can go through them sidings, they can literally go through the things, and then a stray bullet turn around and strike and may hit you or one of your loved ones in these war zones. I mean, the cities in America has pretty much become Dodge City, pretty much. I mean, and you know just as well as I do, I don't have confidence in these so-called fellow Americans. And, you know, it was a real reality check about the unthankfulness and the ungratefulness of Americans after I got out of the military. I couldn't believe that I actually went out there to put my life on the line for such an ungrateful and unthankful people. And so I don't have the confidence inside or with these American people that many other people got. I see what happens when natural disasters take place. I see what happens whenever we have hurricanes, tornadoes, or whatever. The first thing that the people do, especially who have businesses, is they capitalize on other people's misfortune, and then they turn around and they price gouge everyone by jacking up the prices of hotel, jacking up the prices of gasoline, but you want to get out of the cities. And you should have a long time ago, going into number 3, purchase your own homestead and your own land. You should have purchased your own homestead. You should have purchased your own land. If you've been listening to me any length of time whatsoever at all, you should have done that long time ago. If you would have listened to what Pastor Dowell said over, let's say, 15 years ago, what position would you be in today? Because if you was on your own homestead, and it doesn't have to be long home. I mean, it could be 1/4 of an acre, it could be 1/2 an acre, it could be an acre, it could be 10 acres, it could be 20 acres. But if you had worked towards that goal 15 years ago, what would you be at today? Especially, again, looking in the midst of civil unrest. You could have stored your own food, you see, and that's going into number 4. Store your own food. How does all this tie in together? Because if you're out of debt, you can buy goods and services, you can store, and then you can put on your homestead that you can have all the storage in the world you want. You can be able to have greenhouses on there. You can grow your own food. You can store your own food. And you can go to the greatest grocery store in the world, which is what? Your storage room. You can learn how to can like grandmama and great-grandmama and them used to do, and you don't have to depend on these trucks running to these stores or not. I mean, there's a lot of people out here, that is depending on the system to make sure that their livelihood continues to keep running. I call that an entitlement mentality. If you don't if you don't preserve yourself, and if you don't do the things that are necessary in order for you to preserve yourself, then an entitlement mentality is a selfish mentality, and that selfish mentality, you deserve exactly what you get because you didn't prepare. And so now you have people who depended on you for you to make the right choices and the right decisions, and you never did do that because You thought that the world was going to continue to keep on doing the same thing that it's always done. And now look at it now. Now look at it. And I'm telling you right now from my own experience, seems to me it's going from bad to worse. Well, what about number 5? Number 5 is almost twofold right here. Well, you should have done some type of investment, either in precious metal, i.e. gold or silver, and now I'm going to say cryptocurrencies or Bitcoins. But I'm going to chain this with it. You should have definitely become very proficient on firearms. You should be training, and more training. You should be trained. Your wife should be trained. You should have stored ammo. If you can't get ammo, the ammo is dried up. They have such exorbitant prices online right now that it is ridiculous that the amount of money you're going to pay on ammo, and you can't even go into retail stores and buy ammo. But if you've done all these things that I've suggested here, and these 5 things that I think you should do in order to prepare for the upcoming economic collapse, world collapse, or an epidemic, pandemic, you would have positioned yourself and the ones who you love to be very wise people, to be prepared. And guess what? You will not suffer in the days and the times and the hour that are coming up on us in the days that we're living in right now. I hope I said something to stimulate thought. I hope I said something to bring some type of inspiration to someone. And even if you're just now for the first time hearing me, preparing now and starting now is better than not preparing at all. And that's just the truth, and that's the truth straight way. Y'all have a wonderful day. Gotta go. Gotta get some work done. King coming.